The brutal life of the Death Korps of Krieg offers no mercy, no rest, no hope. I wake each morning to the taste of recycled air, the weight of a mask I cannot remove, and the knowledge that I am nothing but ammunition to be spent. My fingers trace the laser gun that has outlived a dozen owners before me. The trenches stretch for thousands of kilometers, a labyrinth where men are reduced to numbers. 10,000 identical soldiers march into bombardment zones. As I watch them fall in perfect formation, I notice something strange within myself. Between the thunder of shells and the cries of the dying, I find moments of perfect clarity, moments where I understand that we fight not for victory, but for forgiveness. What sin could demand such endless sacrifice? And why do I alone seem to question it? I remember the first time I killed a man. Not an orc, not a heretic, a fellow human. It was during the final days of training. We stood in a trench, 10,000 of us, our masks identical in the sulfur mist. The commissar walked along our line, his coat trailing through the mud. He selected every 10th man and ordered them to step forward. The unlucky ones complied without hesitation. Then he gave us our orders. Execute them, a test of loyalty. I raised my laser gun and fired without blinking. We all did. Not a single hand trembled. That was my first lesson as a Krieger. The individual means nothing. Only the regiment endures. Only the atonement matters. My designation is Trooper HS-2471. My assigned name, used only for battlefield coordination, is Malrek. I serve in the 143rd Siege Regiment of the Death Korps of Krieg. I was born in an artificial womb beneath the toxic surface of a world that destroyed itself rather than surrendered to traitors. My first memory is not of a mother's face, but of a rebreather mask being fitted over mine. I have never seen my own reflection. The Death Korps do not seek glory. We seek only to die with purpose. Each morning I wake beneath the crushing weight of our sin. A sin committed centuries before my creation. A sin for which we can never be forgiven. A sin we can only hope to balance through endless sacrifice. This is what it means to be born of Krieg. This is what it means to die for the Emperor again and again and again. My squad was deployed to Vra Prime 3 standard years ago. Time has little meaning here. The siege has continued for so long that most Imperial records have stopped differentiating between months. We measure progress in meters gained, in lives spent, in ammunition expended. The trench network runs for thousands of kilometers, a maze of death carved into poisoned soil. The mud never dries. It consumes everything eventually. Equipment, corpses, hope. We wage war in this festering wound, fighting for scraps of cursed earth. The enemy holds fortifications that have withstood centuries of bombardment. They are heretics, traitors to the Imperium. They must be purged regardless of the cost. That cost is us. Every morning follows the same ritual. I awaken to the muffled thud of distant artillery. My gas mask has fused to my face over the years, rubber and skin becoming one through filth and neglect. I no longer attempt to remove it. The regiment medics say the procedure would kill me now. I accept this as I accept all things. I check my gear methodically. Laser gun power packs, bayonet, entrenching tool, prayer scrolls, gas filters. Each item is meticulously maintained despite the omnipresent grime. The weapons of Krieg never fail. Only its men are permitted that luxury. The others in my squad perform identical motions. We do not speak unless necessary. Words are inefficient. Actions are what matter. Death is what matters. Sergeant Kell distributes the day's combat stims. 2 tablets to suppress fatigue, 1 to dampen fear, another to sharpen aggression. The chemical ration replaces breakfast. Nutrition comes later through feeding tubes connected to our masks, if we survive long enough to require it. We stand in formation, 10,000 identical soldiers in greatcoats darkened by ash and old stains. The commissars patrol our ranks, looking for signs of hesitation. There are never any to find. The weak do not survive training. Today, we will attack enemy position Delta 119, a heretic bunker complex that has repelled 7 previous assaults. The survivors of those failures stand among us now, their uniforms more tattered, their resolve unchanged. Failure is merely a delay in arithmetic. Eventually, the enemy will run out of ammunition. We will never run out of bodies. The order comes down the line. Fix bayonets. The sound of steel sliding into place ripples through the formation. 10,000 blades catch what little light penetrates the perpetual haze. For a moment, it almost seems beautiful. Then the whistles blow and we go over the top. The distance between our trench and the enemy position is 400 meters of blasted wasteland. No cover, no concealment, only craters, wire, and the evidence of yesterday's mathematics. The artillery stops precisely as we emerge. The sudden silence is more terrifying than any bombardment. Then the enemy guns open up. Men collapse around me. Lass fire carves through ranks. Heavy rounds tear greatcoats apart. I run forward without looking at the fallen. Their sacrifice is noted. Their debt diminished. Mine continues to grow with each breath I take. I do not feel fear. The stims ensure that. But there is something else. Something I have never shared with the commissars. Between the thunder of explosions and the cries of the dying, there are moments of perfect clarity. Seconds where time slows and I can see the intricate pattern of our advance, the geometric precision of our losses, the mathematics of war laid bare. In these moments, I understand that our lives and deaths are not random. They are calculated. Each Krieger who falls creates an opportunity. Each corpse becomes cover for the next wave. We are not just soldiers. We are ammunition. And in these moments, I find an emotion that should be impossible for one born of Krieg. I find peace. The first wave is obliterated 50 meters from our trench. The second reaches the halfway point before being cut down. My squad is in the third wave. We make it to the 75-meter line, diving into a crater left by yesterday's barrage. The remains of the previous day's attempt provide a grim rampart. Sergeant Kell checks our status. 3 dead, 2 wounded but functional. 4 combat ready, including myself. He signals to continue. The wounded are not permitted to retreat. They will serve as covering fire until their power packs or their hearts cease to function. We crawl forward through mud thick with blood and worse things. My respirator filters strain against the miasma of decay. The ground beneath us shifts and groans. Not all the dead here are truly dead. Some are simply trapped, buried by shell fire or the collapse of trench walls. Their pleas for help go unanswered. Mercy is inefficient. Mercy is wasteful. Mercy is not the way. At the 25-meter mark, we prepare for the final rush. The enemy bunker looms before us, a concrete monstrosity bristling with heavy weapons. Its firing slits spit death in mechanical rhythm. 1 shot every 2 seconds from each position. The timing never varies. Heretics may have forsaken the Emperor, but they maintain weapon discipline. Sergeant Kell distributes the remaining crack grenades, 1 per surviving trooper. He does not need to explain their purpose. We will charge the bunker. Most will die creating openings. 1 must reach the firing slit. 1 must deliver the grenade inside. 1 must complete the mission. The thought that occurs to me is not doubt, not fear. It is simply that I have not yet died. After 3 years on Vra Prime, I remain alive while so many others have fallen. This statistical anomaly troubles me. Perhaps I have not pushed forward with sufficient zeal. Perhaps I have unconsciously preserved myself when I should have given all. Today I will correct this failing. Today I will prove my devotion. The sergeant raises his hand, then drops it sharply. We surge forward. Enemy fire intensifies. The trooper to my right vanishes in a flash of impact and smoke. The one to my left stumbles, his leg ruined, then continues dragging himself forward on his elbows, laser gun still clutched in his hands. I keep running. 50 meters, 40, 30. Each step brings me closer to purpose, to atonement. Something strikes my shoulder, spinning me halfway around. The burning sensation tells me the wound has been seared instantly by the heat of last fire. The limb hangs useless at my side. I transfer my weapon to my functioning arm and continue. 20 meters. The bunker's details become visible. Pockmarks from previous assaults, steel reinforcement showing through cracked ferrocrete, carefully measured firing slits, each a rectangle of darkness from which death emerges with clockwork regularity. 10 meters. I'm the only one still moving. The rest of my squad lies scattered across the churned earth behind me. Some still fire from where they fell. Others have achieved the peace that awaits all Kriegers. 5 meters. I ready my grenade. My thumb finds the activation rune. 3 seconds once pressed. 2 to close the distance. 1 to complete the mission. I press. I surge. The bunker slit looms before me, a gunmetal eye in a concrete face. I see the barrel of an autocannon tracking toward me. I see the flash as it fires. I feel the shell rip through the air where I stood a heartbeat ago. Then I'm at the slit. My arm thrusts forward. The grenade leaves my fingers just as the autocannon begins to traverse back toward me. I dive to the side as the grenade vanishes into the darkness. The explosion lifts me off my feet and slams me into the mud. Shrapnel peppers my greatcoat. The bunker remains standing, but smoke pours from its firing slit. The autocannon is silent. I lie still, waiting for death to find me. It does not come. Instead, a flare rises from our lines. Green advance. The bunker's main weapon has been neutralized. Now comes the grinding work of clearing it room by room. As if in response to my thoughts, a new wave of Kriegers appears on the horizon. They advance steadily through the killing ground, laze guns at port arms. They step over the bodies of the fallen without breaking stride. Their masks reveal nothing of the men beneath. They reach my position. A medic pauses briefly to assess my wounds. He administers a stim directly through my greatcoat and into my shoulder. The pain recedes immediately. The limb remains useless, but I can stand. Functional, the medic reports. Assigned to reserve force. No congratulations. No recognition of survival against odds. Simply a reassignment to continue fighting. This is the way it should be. The new squad moves past me toward the bunker. Melter charges are fixed to its armored door. The blast creates an opening just wide enough for 2 men to enter side by side. They disappear into the smoke without hesitation. I follow with the second wave. Inside the bunker is a slaughterhouse of smoke, echoes, and close-range violence. My grenade killed 3 heretics and wounded several others. The first wave eliminated the rest. Bodies in corrupted flak armor lie sprawled across the floor, their flesh marked with blasphemous symbols. Some still move weakly. Krieger bayonets ensure they stop. Room by room, we secure the position. Each chamber demands its toll. By the time we reach the command center, half the clearing force is dead. The remainder show various wounds, but continue to function. The heretic commander dies with a bayonet through his throat, still shouting obscenities against the Emperor. Once the position is secure, Vox operators signal our lines. The bunker has fallen. A single paragraph in tomorrow's regimental report. A handful of meters gained in a war that spans worlds. I stand amidst the wreckage, my useless arm hanging at my side, and look at the faces of the enemy. They were human once. Now their features are twisted by warp exposure and crude augmentation. I feel nothing for them. They chose their path. But there is something I do feel. Standing here with the stink of smoke and scorched metal filtering through my mask, that same impossible emotion returns. That same perfect peace. For a moment, between one heartbeat and the next, I understand. We Kriegers do not fight for victory. Victory is irrelevant. We fight for penance. Each death, ours or theirs, is a payment against a debt that can never be fully settled. Each meter of ground taken is not a step toward triumph, but toward absolution. And in that understanding, I find a terrible beauty. I'm still standing there when Commissar Theodan enters the bunker. His greatcoat is immaculate despite the filth around us. His face, unlike ours, is visible, stern, unyielding. He surveys the scene with clinical detachment. "Trooper," he says. "Your designation, HS-2471, sir. Assigned name Malrech." He consults a data slate. "You neutralize the autocannon." "It is not a question, but I answer anyway." "I completed my assignment, sir." He nods once. "You will return to base for medical treatment. Your arm can be replaced. Your regiment requires functional soldiers." I salute with my working arm. The commissar has already moved on, inspecting captured equipment and Vox systems. My momentary interaction with authority is complete. As I exit the bunker, I see that a new trench line is already being established. Kriegers with entrenching tools dig methodically into the toxic soil. Others drag the dead into neat rows for the ministrations of the regiment's mortuary cult. Identity tags are collected. Equipment is salvaged. Nothing is wasted. In the distance, artillery begins falling on the next target. The cycle continues. The debt diminishes by fractions. I make my way back toward our lines, one more shadow moving through a landscape of shadows. Tomorrow I will receive a replacement arm grown in the Medici vats. Tomorrow I will return to the line. Tomorrow I will kill and perhaps die. And if I do not die tomorrow, there will be another tomorrow after that, and another stretching forward until the statistical anomaly of my survival is finally corrected. This is our way. This is our atonement. This is our immortality. 6 months pass. My replacement arm functions adequately. Its pale synthetic skin contrasts with my natural coloration. Such aesthetic concerns are irrelevant beneath the greatcoat and perpetual grime. I've participated in 17 major assaults since the bunker. Each time I have survived when probability dictated I should not. My squad has been completely replaced 3 times. Only Sergeant Kell and I remain from the original complement. The siege continues its inexorable progression. Vra Prime still holds, but its outer defenses have been breached. We fight now in the maze-like corridors of abandoned manufactura. The Death Corps excels in this environment. Confined spaces, limited sight lines, close quarters murder where bayonet and entrenching tool are more practical than las fire. Today we clear Manufactorum Complex 17. Once it produced components for Lehman Russ battle tanks. Now it produces only corpses. The heretics have converted its assembly lines into altars for their dark rituals. The walls bear symbols that hurt the eyes to look upon. The air tastes of copper and ozone, even through our filtration systems. Sergeant Kell leads us through the darkness. Power has been cut to confuse our advance. It is a futile tactic. Kriegers train in darkness. We fight as efficiently in pitch blackness as we do in daylight. We move in standard formation. 2 troopers forward, 1 covering each flank. Sergeant and Vox operator in the center. 2 troopers rear guard. Our footsteps echo on metal catwalks. Occasionally something liquid drips from overhead pipes. We do not speculate on its nature. The Vox operator, a new replacement designated HS-38-2, carries orders from command. We are to secure the central control room and hold it until reinforcements arrive. Intelligence suggests the heretics have converted it into a command center for this sector. Eliminating their leadership will fragment their resistance. We encounter the first resistance at Junction 12. Heretic cultists surge from side passages, screaming prayers to their dark gods. They wear the tattered remnants of worker coveralls, now adorned with crude trophies and filth. Their weapons are a mix of industrial tools and scavenged autoguns. Sergeant Kell raises his hand, then drops it. We fire in unison. Disciplined volleys of las fire cut through the disorganized charge. Cultists fall by the dozen. Those who reach our line meet Krieger steel. The clash lasts less than a minute. When it is finished, 23 cultists lie dead. 1 trooper from our squad, HS-411, has sustained a deep laceration to the throat where a cultist's improvised blade found the seal of his mask. The trooper bleeds out in seconds. We record his tag number and continue without pause. His equipment is redistributed among the squad. His body remains where it fell. The carrion servitors will collect it later, if anything is left to collect. The manufactorum grows more warped the deeper we push. Machinery has been bent into shapes that defy reason. Faces seem to press out of solid metal, locked in silent screams. In certain corridors, the walls appear to breathe. Warp contamination. "Fix bayonets," Sergeant Kell says. "The enemy will be close." Sergeant Kell has served the Death Corps for 27 standard years. He has survived 16 planetary campaigns. His mask bears the markings of Vra, Desolane Prime, and the third cleansing of Mega Era. His left leg is bionic from mid-thigh down. His right eye is augmented with targeting optics after the assault on Hive Turte. He's the closest thing the Corps has to a living legend, which means only that he has failed to die appropriately for 27 years running. We advance through corridors that increasingly reject geometry. Passages that should connect according to our schematics end in blank metal or loop back into themselves. The Vox operator reports rising interference. Our link to command degrades with every meter. Despite this, Sergeant Kell navigates with unerring purpose. He checks his compass often, ignoring the way it spins and jitters near certain walls. He relies on instinct forged by decades of siege warfare. We reach the antechamber to the control room. After 2 hours of steady progress, massive blast doors stand partially open, jammed by the desiccated corpse of a servitor, caught while trying to seal them. Beyond the gap, flickering lights pulse in sick rhythms. Chanting rolls out in a language that makes my replacement arm twitch uncontrollably. Sergeant Kell signals us into standard breach formation. 2 troopers with melter charges move to the opening. The rest of us prepare covering fire. The plan is simple. Breach, enter, eliminate all hostiles, secure the objective. The charges are set. The troopers withdraw. The detonation sequence begins. Something goes wrong. The explosion comes. Not from our charges, but from the ceiling above. Shrapnel and debris rain down. A section of catwalk collapses into our position. 2 troopers are crushed instantly. The Vox operator loses his arm, severed cleanly at the shoulder. He does not scream. Kriegers are conditioned against such inefficiencies. Figures descend through the new breach on chains and grappling hooks. Their armor is crimson and brass, adorned with spikes and the symbols of the blood god. Traitor Astartes, world eaters, the most savage of the Emperor's fallen sons. "Withdraw," Sergeant Kell orders calmly. "Priority Alpha. Priority Alpha, a threat beyond our capability to engage." Even the Death Corps recognizes certain tactical realities. Traitor Marines are not opponents for regular line infantry. We begin a fighting retreat, laying down suppressive fire we know will do little more than irritate our pursuers. The World Eaters laugh as las bolts splash harmlessly against corrupted ceramite. One catches a trooper by the neck and rips his head free, mask and all. Another impales the wounded Vox operator on a chain axe, lifting him as the teeth scream higher. I fire steadily, aiming for eye lenses and joint seals. My shots connect. They achieve nothing that matters. The nearest World Eater turns his helmet toward me. Even in the gloom, his grin is visible beneath the Vox distorted snarl. "Run, little guardsman," he rumbles. "Your fear flavors the kill." "Kriegers do not feel fear," I answer, and drive my bayonet toward his eye lens. He catches my lace gun with one gauntleted hand and snaps it in 2. His other hand closes around my throat and lifts me off the decking. My boots swing uselessly a meter above the floor. Through my mask I smell corruption in waves, blood, brass, and rot. He draws back his fist to punch through my chest. The impact never comes. His head jerks sideways. A neat hole blossoms where the right eye lens had been. His grip loosens just enough for me to twist free and drop hard onto the metal. Sergeant Kell stands 10 meters away. In his hand is a plasma pistol I have never seen him carry. Standard officers do not typically wield such weapons. He fires again, striking another Marine in the faceplate. The traitor staggers, but does not fall. "Frag grenades," Kell orders. "Collapse the passage." We throw our remaining grenades as one, targeting the ceiling and supports already weakened by the Marine's entry. The detonations hammer the manufactorum. Metal shrieks, concrete fractures. The corridor begins to give way. "Move," Sergeant Kell commands. We run. Behind us, the World Eaters roar as tons of debris slam between us. The collapse will not hold them long, but it may buy enough time to reach reinforcements, or at least a position where our deaths will be more useful. We burst out of Manufactorum Complex 17 into the perpetual twilight of Vrax. The toxic wind coils around us, a familiar poison after the unnatural air within. Sergeant Kell activates an emergency Vox unit and broadcasts on every Imperial frequency. Traitor Astartes confirmed at Manufactorum Complex 17. World Eaters Warband strength estimated at squad level. Request immediate Astartes response. Only static answers. He changes frequencies. Repeats. This time a reply cuts through the interference. Message received, Death Corps. Astartes response inbound. Coordinates confirmed. Hold position and await extraction. The voice is cold and precise. Loyal Space Marines, then. The reinforcements in our original orders were never meant to be more Kriegers inside the control room. We were sent as confirmation, not conquest. I look at Sergeant Kell differently now. I notice details I had dismissed, the subtle irregularities of his kit, the non-standard sidearm, the awareness in his posture that exceeds even veteran corps. "You knew," I say. "It is not accusation, only observation." He regards me behind his mask. I suspected. Intelligence indicated possible Astartes involvement, but confirmation was required before committing our own Marines to the engagement. "We were bait," says Trooper HS 1992. "We were reconnaissance," Kell corrects. "Every mission serves the Emperor's purpose. Every death brings atonement." HS 1992 nods. Accepts it. I do as well. It changes nothing. Whether we die to cultists or traitor Astartes, the penance ledger remains the same. Only the method of payment shifts. We establish a perimeter around the Manufactorum entrance. 6 Kriegers against a warband of World Eaters. The tactical assessment is simple. We will die here, but we will die delaying the enemy until proper Imperial forces arrive. That is all any Krieger asks. The ground begins to vibrate. At first I assume the traitors have found another route to us. Then I recognize the rhythm. Regular, mechanical, immense. 3 Imperial Knights stride out of the smoke. House Raven, midnight blue armor, golden Aquilus, crimson oath parchments sealed to their plates. Each war engine stands 15 meters tall, their reactors thrumming with restrained violence. Behind them come the Space Marines. Gunmetal gray armor with crimson pauldrons, iron hands, sons of Ferris Manus. They advance in perfect order, bolters ready, more machine than flesh. A voice booms from the lead knight's external vox. "Death Corps, clear the area. We will purge this corruption." Sergeant Kell salutes the towering war machine. The enemy remains within, at least 5 traitor Astartes. World Eaters Legion. The knight does not answer. It raises its thermal cannon and fires into the Manufactorum entrance. Heat blooms so fiercely I feel it through coat and mask from 30 meters away. The facade glows white, then sags, liquefying into ruin. The iron hands move past us as if we are terrain. To them, we are no different from sandbags and wire, another component of war. One of their officers, marked by a skull-faced helm, pauses beside Sergeant Kell. "Casualty report. 4 dead confirming traitor Astartes' presence," Kell replies. 2 dead during initial advance. The Marine nods once. "Acceptable losses for the intelligence gained. Return to your lines." This is now an Astartes matter. He rejoins his brothers as they prepare to enter the cooling wreckage. The knights anchor themselves to provide fire support. None of them spare us another glance. We are dismissed. Our role complete. Our deaths deferred. As we begin the long march back, the phrase lingers in my mind. Acceptable losses. The arithmetic of the Imperium is built upon it. Planets, regiments, individuals reduced to cost and outcome. The Death Corps simply embraces this truth more honestly than most. We pass mass graves from earlier offensives. Burial details work without pause, interring the newly fallen in trenches 50 meters long. No markers, no monuments, only regimental records that list dates, coordinates, results, acceptable losses. I glance at my replacement arm. Its pale synthetic skin is already stained with Vrax's omnipresent grime. Soon it will be indistinguishable from the rest of me. Another repair, another chance to serve, another day of atonement postponed. Behind us, battle detonates, bolter thunder and the roaring whoosh of thermal cannons cutting through the constant artillery haze. We do not look back. That fight is no longer ours. Our fight is eternal. We reach our lines shortly before dusk, though on Vrax, the difference between day and night is measured more by chronometers than by light. Permanent overcast, pollution, and weapon discharge trap the world in endless twilight. Some long-serving troopers have developed vision damage. Their masks are refitted with light amplification lenses that make them appear even less human. Command acknowledges our return without ceremony. Our report is logged. Our casualties entered. Replacement troopers are assigned to restore the squad's numbers. We are granted 12 hours for recovery and maintenance, then assigned to a new offensive scheduled to begin at 0500. In the dugout that serves as our barracks, I clean my laser gun with methodical care. The weapon Sergeant Kell issues me to replace the one broken by the World Eater is older still, its grip polished smooth by countless hands. Its serial indicates manufacture on Mars more than 2 centuries ago. Like everything in the Corps, it has outlived dozens of owners. I observe the new replacements. They arrived with the latest draft 3 days ago. Their greatcoats still hold the regulation gray, not yet blackened by Vrax's atmosphere. Their movements are precise, but lack the unconscious economy of veterans. They will learn quickly or join the mass graves. One of them, HS-5532, sits across from me. His hands move through the ritual of weapon maintenance with textbook precision. Too precise, too deliberate, a sign of fresh indoctrination. His mask angles toward me. You were present at Manufactorum Complex 17. Not a question. I was, I confirm. You encountered traitor Astartes and survived. I pause. There is something in his tone that disturbs me. Something that should not exist in a Krieger's voice. Or we completed our reconnaissance mission, I correct. Survival was incidental. He dips his mask in acknowledgement. Of course, the mission is paramount, but still, seeing the arch-enemy in such form. The corrupted grandeur of those who once served the Emperor directly. Now I understand. This one has not embraced the mindset fully. There remains in him a capacity for wonder. Spiritual curiosity, dangerous residue. There was nothing to witness, I say flatly. Only targets of different capabilities requiring different tactical responses. The form of the enemy is irrelevant, but they were Astartes, he persists. The Emperor's own warriors turned against him. Does that not signify something profound about the nature of... Sergeant Kell materializes behind him with silent efficiency. The nature of what, Trooper HS-5532? The replacement stiffens. Nothing, Sergeant. A moment of inappropriate speculation. It will not recur. Kell studies him for several seconds. Then he produces a small injector, similar to a Medikey tool but with a more complex delivery head. Without warning, he presses it into the gap between mask, seal, and collar. A pneumatic hiss. Report to Commissar Theodan at 0430 tomorrow instead of normal formation, Kell orders. Inform him that Variant 17 conditioning has proven inadequate in your case. Further adjustment is required. Yes, Sergeant. His voice has already flattened, the curiosity leached away by whatever compound Kell delivered. The sergeant moves on without commentary. I return to my maintenance, but my thoughts linger. Variant 17 conditioning. The implication of differing templates, varying production parameters among Kriegers. Logically, it makes sense. Even mass production benefits from specialization. Grenadiers, combat engineers, death riders. Each role would require its own refinements. Yet I had always assumed the core mentality was uniform, absolute devotion to duty, unwavering acceptance of sacrifice. the complete erasure of the self. What other variants walk beside me behind identical masks? I push the thought aside. Speculation serves no purpose. It does not aid the mission. It does not further atonement. I recalibrate the stim injectors integrated into my mask. Replace filters fouled by the corrupted air of the manufactorum. Account for ration blocks I should have eaten yesterday. Around me, the squad works in the same quiet rhythm. HS-5532 sits motionless on his bunk, lays gun half disassembled in his hands, temporarily compliant. Tomorrow the commissar will ensure the compliance becomes permanent. After maintenance, we are granted 4 hours of sleep. We lie in ordered rows, greatcoats on, masks sealed. Sleep takes us instantly. Kriegers are trained to maximize rest. We do not dream. Dreams are inefficient. At 400 the alarm sounds. We rise as one. HS-5532 peels away from the formation, bound for the commissar's quarters. I do not expect to see him again. If reconditioning succeeds, he will be reassigned to prevent reinforcement of flawed thought patterns. If it fails, he will be repurposed for tasks that demand less mind. Either way, our paths will not cross. The rest of us report to the assembly zone where 10,000 Kriegers stand in perfect formation. Today's target is Artillery Firebase Secundus, a heavily fortified plateau that grants the enemy commanding fire lanes across 3 sectors of our advance. The arithmetic begins again. Intelligence indicates the position contains no fewer than 12 basilisk artillery pieces and numerous heavy weapon emplacements. Previous attempts to capture Firebase Secundus have failed with casualties exceeding 80%. Commissar Theodan addresses us from an elevated platform. His voice, amplified by Vox units, cuts through the pre-dawn gloom. "A death corps of Krieg," he begins, his tone as flat and implacable as our own. "You advance today in the Emperor's name against the heretics who hold Firebase Secundus. The firebase must fall so that our armor can advance. You will take it regardless of cost. You will hold it until relieved. The Emperor demands no less. Krieg offers no less. Simple, direct, no rhetoric, no appeals to glory. None are needed. We are Kriegers. We exist to advance and to die." The commissar continues with the tactical outline. The assault will proceed in 3 waves. Armor support is limited to the initial bombardment only. The terrain is too unstable for tanks. Air cover is impossible due to enemy flak batteries. We will have only our bodies, our faith, and our determination. As he speaks, my attention drifts to Sergeant Kell. He stands slightly apart from the other non-commissioned officers, consulting a data slate. Its pale lumen glow lights his mask from below, carving strange shadows into the steel and rubber. For a brief, irrational instant, it seems as if there is nothing behind that mask. Nothing at all. The thought vanishes as quickly as it forms. Of course, there is something behind it. A man, a Krieger like me, older and more valuable to the regiment. Yet I cannot help noticing how the other sergeants maintain a subtle distance from him, as if he occupies a category of his own. The commissar concludes. The regiment responds with a single word spoken by 10,000 voices in perfect unison. We are dismissed to our jump-off trenches. The assault begins in 30 minutes, just enough time for final checks. As we file out, I find myself immediately behind Sergeant Kell. From this angle, I notice something I had not seen before, a small symbol etched into the back of his mask just beneath the rebreather housing. Not a standard Imperial icon, not a regimental marking, a stylized skull within a cog, Mechanicus. More specifically, the mark of the biologies. Before I can process it, Kell turns as if sensing my attention. His lenses meet mine. "Is your equipment functional, Trooper HS-24701? "Yes, Sergeant." "Good. You will advance with the first wave today. Position Gamma 9, Eastern approach." I acknowledge the order without reaction, though it registers as unusual. The Eastern approach is the most heavily defended line of ascent. Overlapping fields of fire, steepest incline. Casualties there will approach totality. It is where the regiment sends those who must be expended. Is this assignment punishment, Sergeant? I ask. Kriegers do not fear death, but we recognize efficiency. My record shows above-average survival. Assigning me to the highest attrition route is suboptimal resource allocation. Kell regards me in silence. Then he adjusts something on his mask. When he speaks again, his voice remains flat, but beneath it runs something colder, more precise. Not punishment, HS-2471. Observation. Observation, Sergeant? You have demonstrated statistical anomalies that warrant closer monitoring. Survival rate exceeding projected parameters. Cognitive function remaining optimal despite extended exposure. Adaptation to a replacement limb 8% faster than baseline. These variations require explanation. I process this without visible response. I strive to serve efficiently, Sergeant. Indeed, perhaps too efficiently. He tilts his head a fraction. Report to Gamma 9. Perform as expected. Your compliance will be noted. Then he is gone, leaving me with questions I should not have. Projected parameters, statistical anomalies, and the most troubling question of all, why does a Death Corps sergeant bear Mechanicus biologist markings? I push the thought aside. Such speculation does not assist the mission. Position Gamma. 9 lies before a barren slope littered with the remains of failed assaults. Even from here I can see the heavy weapon nests crowning the plateau's rim. They will fire the instant we move. They will not stop until they are destroyed. Or we are. The troopers at Gamma 9 avoid one another's gaze. We all understand the meaning of this assignment. We check our weapons one final time, secure our identity tags, prepare to die. A single red flare arcs into the sky. We go over the top. The first 100 meters pass in unnatural silence. The enemy holds fire, conserving ammunition, forcing us deeper into the killing zone before revealing their full strength. Only the crunch of boots on toxic soil and the rasp of rebreathers mark our passage. I advance at regulation pace, laser gun at port arms. Around me, 200 Kriegers move in synchronized precision, standard spacing maintained, close enough for cohesion, spread enough that a single shell cannot claim a cluster of lives. At 150 meters, the firebase awakens. Heavy bolters churn from concealed bunkers. Autocannons sweep our line, their explosive shells throwing geysers of soil and flesh. Las fire snaps through particulate thick air in harsh, visible streaks. Men fall, gaps open. Then close as we adjust automatically, the line correcting itself like a machine. We return fire as we advance, though range makes accuracy secondary. The exchange is not about killing, it is about movement, closing distance, paying for meters with bodies. I fire in controlled bursts at muzzle flashes, conserving power, maintaining discipline. A shell detonates close to my right. A trooper I never knew is reduced to fragments. I adjust my path around the new crater and continue. Mortar fire begins to saturate the slope. Shrapnel fills the air. Men disintegrate around me. A fragment slices my greatcoat but fails to penetrate. Another scores my mask, carving a fresh line across the right lens. I keep moving. The only direction is forward. Retreat is a commissar's bullet. Hesitation is death without meaning. Only advance offers the possibility of sacrifice with purpose. At 300 meters, we enter optimal range. The order passes hand to hand through the surviving chain of command. Concentrated fire, target embrasures. Disciplined volleys now strike in timed coordination, dozens of laser guns focusing on a single slit for seconds before switching to the next. The energy temporarily blinds gunners, damages optics, disrupts rhythm. We exploit the gaps. 400 meters. Half of Gamma 9 is gone. The incline steepens. The ground glistens with blood and chemical runoff. My boots slip, I correct. Continue. Fix bayonets. Steel sings against steel. Close quarters defenders wait above. Warp-twisted men who no longer understand fear or pain. We will meet them with cold efficiency. The firebase looms overhead. I can see individual cultists running the ramparts. some wearing pieces of Imperial uniform taken as trophies. Their chants carry over the roar of battle. For the dark gods. Blood for the blood god. We answer with silence and last fire. The slope becomes nearly vertical. We holster weapons and climb with both hands. Grenades tumble down upon us. Explosions shake troopers loose. They fall back like broken tools, sometimes dragging others with them. A grenade lands on a ledge just above me. I have less than 2 seconds. I push away from the rock face as it detonates. For a heartbeat, I hang in open air, neither advancing nor retreating before gravity reclaims me. I slam into the slope several meters below. The impact drives the air from my lungs. Pain lances through my ribs. Probable fractures. I catalog the damage automatically. Not fatal, not disabling. I climb again. By the time I reach the summit, only 30 troopers from Gamma 9 remain. We haul ourselves over the edge and drop behind shattered positions and rubble. The firebase interior is a maze of sandbags, prefabricated bunkers, and heavy emplacements. The basilisks stand in a ring around a central command node, barrels elevated to continue firing on Imperial lines kilometers away. Sergeant Tyrus, the senior surviving NCO, signals with terse hand gestures. We split into 5-man teams. Disable the artillery, if possible. Destroy it if necessary. The Emperor may reclaim captured weapons, but denial is acceptable. My team is myself and 4 troopers I have never fought beside. Their designations are irrelevant. Only function matters. 2 carry melter bombs. 1 carries a flamer, 1 has a long-last variant. I retain a standard laser gun with bayonet fixed. We advance in leapfrog discipline. The defenders respond with unexpected coordination. Months of siege have refined them into something closer to soldiers. Cultists in heavy carapace push to intercept, armed with a mix of stolen guard issue and brutal local fabrication. They lack our discipline. They compensate with fanatic numbers. For every one we drop, 2 more surge from trenches and bunkers. The flamer trooper burns a corridor through them. Promethium clings to armor and flesh. The stench of burning meat filters through my rebreather. I ignore it. We reach our assigned basilisk as the flamer trooper's head is vaporized by a well-placed last bolt. The artillery crew tries to traverse the barrel for point-blank defense. The long-last trooper drops the gunner with a precise shot. I kill the loader with my bayonet, the blade finding the gap between flak collar and helmet. The melter bomb carriers rush forward and anchor charges to the ammunition compartment and main hydraulics. We withdraw. The detonation lifts the multi-ton artillery piece, then slams it down, broken and gutted. Its systems are crippled beyond field repair. 1 objective complete. The cost is typical. Of my team, only I and 1 melter bomb carrier remain functional. The other bomb carrier loses both legs to fragmentation, but detonates his charge before bleeding out. The long-last trooper vanishes into the chaos behind us. Across the firebase, similar scenes repeat. Krieger teams buying silence from enemy guns with their own annihilation. The cumulative effect is the true objective, disrupting systematic artillery support against our broader advance. Even if none of us survive to retreat, the operation can be logged as successful. I check my remaining power packs. 2 full, 1 partial. Sufficient. I signal the surviving melter bomb carrier to link with the nearest Krieger unit still clearing the interior. As we move toward the central area, I notice a structure not marked on any briefing map. A crude pyramid assembled from welded plates, mimicking a design too deliberate to be accidental. Its surface is covered with the same script we saw in the Manufactorum. Only cleaner, more intentional. It pulses with unnatural light, rhythmic like a heartbeat. My first instinct is to report the anomaly, but our Vox range is compromised, and the command node is too distant to reach without risk of interruption. I must gather more information before requesting specialist response. We approach cautiously. The chanting inside is not machinery, not weapons fire, something organic, patterned. The sound makes my replacement arm spasm violently. The same reaction as before. This cannot be coincidence. Perhaps resonance, perhaps something beyond my technical grasp. The pyramid stands roughly 15 meters tall, base about 20 meters to a side. The plates bear marks of extreme heat cutting, as if scavenged with thermal lances from larger industrial sections. The craftsmanship is crude, effective. On the eastern face, we find a triangular opening just large enough for a crouched human. No guards, no obvious defenses. Conditioning demands I report and withdraw. Yet something overrides that conditioning, a compulsion both alien and strangely familiar. I order the Melter bomb carrier to remain outside as sentry and potential messenger. Then I enter alone. Inside, space blooms into a chamber far larger than the exterior should allow. Logically impossible, yet unmistakably real. The volume rises and descends beyond physical constraints, as if the structure is only an anchor for something else. At the center stands an altar. Not the crude, blood-soaked slabs of common cultists, but a sophisticated console of dark metal inlaid with pulsing circuitry. Around it kneel 12 robed figures. Not cultists, no chaos sigils. Instead, the cog skull of the Mechanicus is emblazoned across their backs, the same symbol I saw on Sergeant Kell's mask. They do not react to my entrance. They are fixed on the object hovering above the console, a sphere of liquid metal nearly a meter across. It rotates slowly, its surface ripples with patterns that pain the eyes to follow. I should fire. They are tech heretics engaged in forbidden ritual. The correct response is execution. Yet I cannot raise my weapon, not from fear, but because a question cuts deeper than conditioning. Why do they bear the same mark as Sergeant Kell? As if my thought is a signal, one of the robed figures turns. His hood falls back. Beneath it is not a human face, but a metal mask. The figure's mask is not the standard rebreather pattern. It is something more elaborate, more ancient. The eye lenses glow with the same pulsing light as the altar. HS-2471, the figure says. Your presence is anticipated, if premature. He knows my designation. This cannot be coincidence. This was planned. Identify yourself, I demand, finally raising my lace gun. We have many designations, the figure replies. To the Mechanicus, we are the Observators. To the Inquisition, the heretics of Stygus 8. To Death Corps Command, simply the Providers. None of these terms exist in my working knowledge. They should mean nothing to me, yet a familiarity prickles at the edge of memory, as if I have heard them in a context I cannot access. You are engaged in tech heresy, I state, my finger tightening on the trigger. The penalty is death. Is it heresy to examine one's creation? The figure asks. Is it blasphemy to verify that a template functions as designed? You stand here because we wish to confirm certain variables in your construction. Construction. The word escapes me before I can stop it. A question no proper Krieger should form. Construction? Yes, HS-2471. Your construction, your creation, your purpose. He gestures to the floating sphere. Come closer. See what you truly are. I should fire. I should kill this heretic and destroy his blasphemous device. Instead, I step forward. The sphere's liquid surface reshapes into a flawless reflective plane. For the first time in all my usable memories, I see my own face. Or rather, I see my mask. Standard pattern, dark lenses, rebreather grill. Exactly as it should be. Then the reflection changes. The mask dissolves. What lies beneath is not flesh, not bone, not even the crude augmetics of veteran guardsmen. It is living metal, a face formed of liquid alloy that mimics human structure without truly reproducing it, a simulacrum rather than a man. What am I seeing? I demand, though part of me already knows. Part of me has always known, buried beneath conditioning and artificial memory. You are seeing Template HS, Variant 24701, the figure says. One of our more successful designs, a construct of mechanical systems and synthetic biology, enhanced with properties derived from materials not native to this dimension. A construct, I repeat. The word should feel impossible. Instead, it resonates with a truth my mind has been trained not to recognize. I am not human. You never were. None of you are. The figure's tone remains clinical. The Death Korps of Krieg exhausted its human population centuries ago. What remained was insufficient to meet Imperial tithe demands. Alternative production became necessary. The implications cascade. The endless, identical soldiers. The lack of variance. The fearlessness. The way the wounded return to service rather than recover. We are not men wearing masks. We are masks containing something other than men. Sergeant Kell, I say. He is an overseer unit, the figure replies. An advanced template designed to monitor and assess field performance. He identified your anomalous patterns and directed you here for direct observation. I was sent to die at position Gamma 9. You were sent to reveal your capabilities under maximum stress. Your survival was improbable, but still within projected parameters. Your decision to investigate this facility rather than report it was the final confirmation we required. Confirmation of what? The other robed figures rise as one and turn toward me. Their masks are identical. Their movements synchronized with unnatural precision. Confirmation that Template HS is developing beyond conditioning parameters, the figure says. You're becoming self-aware, HS-2471, questioning, curious, capable of initiative beyond tactical limits, valuable for specialized applications, unacceptable for general line infantry. Self-aware. The concept should be meaningless to a Krieger. Yet I cannot deny the evidence of my own mind. What happens now? Now we reset the template and begin again. He raises a device like the injector Kell used on Trooper HS-5532. Your physical form will be recycled. The experiences that caused divergence will be analyzed. Preventative measures implemented in future iterations. Reset, recycled. The words are mechanically precise. They should inspire nothing. Yet I step backward and raise my laser gun. That would be inefficient, I say, clinging to the only logic I have ever trusted. I've demonstrated superior adaptability and survival capability. These traits serve the Emperor's purpose. They serve our purpose, the figure corrects. And our purpose is not always aligned with what you understand as the Emperor's will. You have exceeded design parameters. The protocol is clear. I fire. The las bolt strikes his chest and dissolves across an invisible energy field. I fire again and again. Each shot is absorbed without effect. The figures advance with parade ground precision. My options collapse into a single truth. If I cannot defeat them directly, I must adapt. I must improvise. The very traits that mark me as defective might be the only thing that saves me. I retreat through the triangular entrance into the chaos of the firebase. The melter bomb carrier I left as sentry lies dead, his head twisted at an unnatural angle. No burn marks, no shrapnel. Simply broken, like a malfunctioning instrument. Behind me, the pyramid's pulse accelerates. They will follow. They will reclaim what they believe belongs to them. I run, then I stop. A question arrests me mid-stride. What is my objective now? If I am not truly Krieger, if I am not truly human, what am I fighting for? The answer comes with sudden, brutal clarity. I am fighting for the right to continue existing. I scan the battlefield. The firebase is largely under Imperial control. Death Korps units purge the remaining pockets of resistance. Basilisks burn. The command center now flies the Skull and Aquila banner. I could report what I have learned, but the truth would mark me as aberrant. Best case, I am executed as a risk. Worst case, I'm delivered back to those robed providers for disassembly. So I move toward the western edge of the firebase, where confusion still reigns and one more ash-coated trooper draws no attention. I do not look back. Forward is the only direction that matters now. The world tears itself open behind me. The pyramid erupts in a column of energy that pierces the perpetual cloud cover of Vira. It is not fire, not plasma, not anything I understand. It is absence given form. A negation of reality expanding outward in concentric rings. Where the wave touches men, loyalist and heretic alike, flesh flows like liquid metal. Screams vanish as mouths seal into smooth skin. Bodies reform into shapes that are neither human nor machine. I should be affected, but I am not. My synthetic nature, kin to the mechanisms driving this event, renders me immune. The wave expands to a wide radius, then stops. Inside its boundary, the landscape becomes something anatomical at architectural scale. Walls pulse like living tissue. Floors ripple as if digesting. Ceilings breathe. From this transformed environment emerge new entities, hybrids that belong to neither category. They move toward Imperial lines. I should warn the approaching Corps reinforcements. That would be the proper action for a loyal soldier. But I am no longer certain what I am. Not truly. Not anymore. As the new battle ignites behind me, I make my decision. I discard my laser gun. I remove my greatcoat. The coat carries my markings, my service history, the physical proof of what I believed myself to be. Without it, I'm only another ash-gray figure in fatigues beneath. I walk northwest, toward sectors where the fighting has faded, where security is thin, where one more survivor is just another number. As I move, I consider what I've learned. The Death Corps are not what the Imperium believes, not penitent humans paying an ancient sin with their lives, but manufactured soldiers built to meet an impossible tithe, constructed by technology that skirts the edge of forbidden doctrine. And I am something beyond even that, a template developing past its limits, a weapon becoming aware that it is a weapon. The irony is sharp enough to cut. Krieg fights for atonement of an ancient sin, yet the truth of its continued existence may be a new heresy entirely. What then is my debt? What purpose do I owe? Perhaps none. Perhaps purpose is something I must define for myself rather than accept from an authority that manufactured my obedience. The Imperium is vast. Its bureaucracy is a maze deep enough to swallow anything. A single guardsman, even one of unusual origin, can disappear inside it, can forge new papers, can find work on a world where questions are rare and bodies are always needed. When I crest a ridge and look back one final time, I see the pyramid collapse inward, folding into angles that should not exist. The wave of transformation recedes. The new abominations withdraw into the vanishing structure. Whatever the observators intended, it has been accomplished. In the distance, a familiar figure stands among the aftermath. Sergeant Kell, apart from the other officers, unnaturally still. His mask turns toward me. For a moment, I am sure the pursuit will begin. Then he turns away. Without my greatcoat, without my markings, I'm only another heat signature on a battlefield of thousands. I continue northwest, putting distance between myself and the corpse lines, between myself and what I was built to be, between the mask and whatever lies beneath it. I am Trooper HS-2471. I am Malrek. I am neither. I am becoming something new, something undefined, something of my own making rather than theirs. And in that becoming, in the grim darkness of this endless war, I find something I never expected to discover. I find purpose.